Hello viewers, I highly welcome all of you to AE Accounting Tutorials. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe to it by clicking on the subscribe button on your devices, and also like, comment and share these videos for the benefit of others. Today we are going to look at correction of errors and suspense account. Okay, when we say errors in accounting, what does it mean? Errors in accounting are those mistakes that we made during recording, posting, casting and summarizing financial transactions. That is either a misstatement, wrong entry or an omission. Okay, so because of all these errors, it becomes prudent to us to rectify them before we prepare our final account. Is that okay? So we are going to look at the various types of errors, and then we look at how to correct them through the journal and that of the suspense account. Okay, so for today, that is basically what we are going to look at. So with the types of errors, we have two broad classification of errors. We have errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance, and we have errors that do not affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay, but mind you, all errors affect the trial balance, but we are talking about the agreement. We have some that affect the agreement, we have some that does not affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay, but we are not saying that we have errors that affect a trial balance and errors that do not affect a trial balance. No, what we are saying here is the agreement. Okay, so first of all, let's look at the errors that affect the agreement of a trial balance. Okay. Errors that do not affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay, so the key word here is the agreement. Okay, so we are much interested on the agreement. So we are seeing that we have two broad classification of errors. That is errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance and errors that do not affect the agreement of the trial balance. But let's first of all look at the errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay. So basically I'll be talking about 5 different errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance. So 1, we have errors or error of incomplete entry. Okay. So when we say error of an incomplete entry, what does it mean? Error of incomplete entry means that, or it occurs when only one aspect of a transaction has been kept. Okay. We all know that from our double entry principles, for every transaction, we have to at least record it twice. That is recording it in one account at the debit side and the other account at the credit side, and vice versa. So if you forgot to record the transaction in one account, but you only made the recording in only one aspect, or you only record it in one account, forgotten the other account, it means you've made an error of incomplete entry. So in order to correct these errors, let me first of all give a scenario. Okay, let's say that sales to Kofi $100. Okay, so we'll be having a sales account, and we'll be having Kofi's account. Okay, Kofi's account, and sales of $100 to Kofi, and then we made a credit entry in sales account. Let's say Kofi 100, but then we forgot to record the transaction in Kofi's account. We forgot to make the debit entry over here. This means we've only kept one aspect of the account. So you can also call this error as a single entry. Alright, we only keep the transaction in one aspect and we forgot to keep this. So in order to correct this error, what you are going to do is that you make the correct entry in the other accounts that has not been made. Is that okay? So by correcting, you'll be debiting this account by 100 because you're supposed to debit it in the name of Suspense. We are debiting it in the name of Suspense because we don't have any other account in which the corresponding entry should be. Okay, but mind you, all transactions that affect the agreement of the trial balance are corrected by the help of the Suspense account. They pass through the Suspense account. Okay, but before that, I will also talk about the meaning of the Suspense account later in this particular video. Is that okay? So stay tuned. So we'll be having our Suspense account. Then we credit our Suspense account in the name of Kofi. That is $100. Okay, so basically this is how we correct an error of an incomplete entry. Is that okay? So let's also talk of the second error, which will be an error of partial omission of entry. This type of error is a senior brother. I may say it's a senior brother to the incomplete record or incomplete entry. An error of partial omission simply means when one aspect of the transaction is being omitted. We didn't actually record it at all. Okay, we know that for every transaction, at least we have to record it twice. One account, two different separate accounts. So we record it in one account and the other account. So if you keep one account and you forgot to keep the other account, you completely omitted it from the book. Okay, so when you omit one part of the account, we call it a partial omission of entry. So let me stick to my example again to actually explain this. The correction of this error is the same as how we correct an incomplete entry. So let's say, let me stick to my example by saying that sales to Kofi, $100. Okay, so we all know that still we open our sales account, we still open Kofi's account. Sales to Kofi. Kofi is the customer, so we debit Kofi in the name of sales. Okay, so we're supposed to credit sales account in the name of Kofi. But instead of crediting sales account, we've omitted it. We didn't record it at all. We've omitted one account. It is two separate accounts, but we've omitted the sales account. The Kofi's account entry has been done correctly. So to correct this error, we come back to the account which is omitted and make the correct entry so that the corresponding account will go to the Suspense account. So we come here to credit the sales account by 100 in the name of Suspense. Okay, then we open the Suspense account. The Suspense account, then we debit it in the name of sales. Is that okay? To complete the double entry. So basically, this is how we actually correct a partial omission of entry. It is almost the same as the incomplete record or incomplete entry. All right. The third error that I would like to talk about is error of transposition. Okay, as the name suggests, trans has to do with change. Is that okay? So change of position of figures. So when we talk of error of transposition, we are actually talking about where the position of an amount has been changed. Okay, so when you commit such an error, we call it an error of transposition. Okay, so I'll keep sticking with my example. Let's say sales of an amount of 32 cedis. Okay, so in our sales account, sales of 32 cedis. So we're supposed to credit sales account with an amount of, let's say, $32. Okay, instead of $32, we've changed the position of the amount and we made it 23. This is transposition. We've only changed the position. And error of transposition may lead to either a an overstatement or an understatement of an amount. Instead of 32, we made it 23. It means we have understated the sales amount with a difference of $9. Alright? So what we're supposed to do is that we're supposed to add the $9 up to actually reach the $32. We're supposed to credit the sales account by 32, but we did 23. We've understated the sales amount. So in order to correct this error, we come to the sales account and credit it with the 9 cedis in the name of Suspense. Then we open our Suspense account. Suspense. And what we are going to do is that because it is at the credit side of sales account, we come and debit it in the name of sales. 9. Okay, that is a situation where a transposition leads to an understatement. Let's also talk about the overstatement. Okay, so maybe instead of let's say instead of crediting the sales, maybe sales of $23, instead of crediting sales account with $23, you rather recorded 32. That is the same transposition. Okay, instead of recording this, we've recorded this. We've recorded 32. It means we've overstated the sales amount by 9 cedis. In order to correct this error, we recorded the difference, which is $9, at the opposite side of the account which is overstated. So we come and record 9 over here in the name of Suspense. Suspense 9. Okay, because it is at the debit side, we come to Suspense account in the name of sales 9. So what happens is that in accounting, anytime we are subtracting from an amount from the T account or the ledger, what happens is that we record it at the opposite side. But anytime you are adding up and the account has a credit side, record it at the same side. Is that okay? But when you are subtracting, as you are subtracting the 9, you record it at the opposite side. That is basically it actually means. So this is how we treat an error of transposition. Okay. So let's also talk about the fourth error, which is error of partial reversal of entry. Error of partial reversal of entry. Alright? An error of partial reversal of entry occurs, or we commit this type of error when one side of the account has been partially reversed. Okay, we've reversed the account of, we've actually reversed one of the accounts. Is that okay? So let's say we still have our sales to customer A, sales to customer A. Okay, sales to customer A. We credit sales. Let's say the amount still remain 100 cedis, okay, in the name of customer A. Instead of debiting customer A's account, we've reversed customer A's account. Instead of debiting, we credited it in the name of sales, 100. It means that we've made a double credit, okay. So a partial reversal of entry errors occurs if we made a double credit entry or a double debit credit entry. Okay, we're supposed to debit customer A's account, we've rather credited customer A's account. It means that one of the accounts has partially been reversed. Okay, the sales account has been actually entered correctly, but the customer A's account has been partially reversed. So to correct this error, we need to cancel out this 100 cedis and record the exact amount, which is 100 cedis. To do so, in accounting, when we want to cancel, we don't cancel this one. We record it at the opposite side. Okay, so we need to record the 100 cedis to cancel out this. Then we record another 100. So with this, we can double the amount. Okay, we double the 100 cedis and do it 200 or $200. All right. So in effect, the 100 cedis here will cancel out to 100 cedis, and the balance will still remain 100 cedis, and the corresponding entry will be the Suspense account somewhere. Is that okay? So debit the customer A's account $200, credit Suspense account $200. So in correction of errors or errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance, what I'm saying is that we only double the amount when we are correcting errors of either a partial reversal of entry or a complete reversal of entry. So we only double the amount when we are correcting such an error. Is that okay? So the last but not the least error is error of casting. Error of casting. Error of casting. Okay. This error of casting has been actually classified into two. This may result to either an overstatement or an understatement, or either an overcast or undercast. So we may have this casting may result to either an overcast or undercast. And the undercast or the overcast has to do with recording an amount more than it's supposed to be. That is, you have overstated the amount, okay? And the undercast has to do with writing an amount less than it's supposed to be, okay? Or you have really understated an amount. To correct such error, let's say we have let's say purchases amount overcast, okay? We know that, let's say purchase account. Purchase account has a debit balance. So if they are telling us that the purchase account has been overcast by $200, okay, it means that they've increased the debit side of the purchase account by $200, for which it's not supposed to be so. Okay, indirectly they've recorded $200 over here because they are saying it has been overstated. So it is up to you to know the various balances of every account. Is that okay? So they are saying that the purchase account has been overcast by $200. It means, in effect, 200 cedis has been recorded here. So in order to correct this error, what we are saying is that you credit the purchases account by the overcast, the overstatement amount or the overcast amount. That is 200. So in the name of suspense, okay, $200. So that the corresponding entry will go to the debit side of suspense. So you have your suspense over here. Your suspense, because it is at the credit side of purchase account, bring it here in the name of purchase, $200. Okay. So that is the overcast. Okay. So anytime we overstate an account, we record it at the opposite side to cancel it off. Is that okay? But anytime you have understated an amount, let's still talk about the purchases account. Let's say this time the purchases account has been undercast by $200. Okay. If the purchases account has been undercast by $200, you all know that the purchase account has a debit balance and it has been undercast. It has been reduced as expected. So what we're supposed to do is that we top it up. It has been undercast, so we top it up. By topping the purchase account, since it has a debit balance, we record it at the debit side because it has been undercast. $200 in the name of suspense. In the name of suspense account. Okay, so that the corresponding entry will go to the credit side of suspense account. Okay, so basically this is how errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance are being corrected. But you have to note or take note of this. All errors that affect the agreement of the trial balance normally pass through the suspense account in its correction. Is that okay? So with this, let's also look at errors that do not affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay. Let's consider the other aspect of the errors. That is errors that do not affect the agreement of the trial balance. Okay. This type of errors, even if committed, the trial balance will still agree. It is these types of errors that we normally commit in our exams where we come out and say that we all balance our account with different amounts. We might commit this type of errors, but we might not know. So let's actually look at how we correct such errors in our books. Okay, so let's talk about the first one. That is error of complete omission of entry. Okay, An error of complete omission of entry occurs when a transaction has been completely omitted from the book. This means that the transaction is not recorded at all. Is that okay? So when the transaction is not recorded at all, to correct this error, you come back to make the necessary entry, or you come back to make the right double entry. Is that okay? But mind you, understanding the theoretical aspects of this correction of errors in suspense account helps you a lot in solving the practical. So it is prudent to actually take this serious and try to understand it. Okay, so this error, let me give a scenario. Maybe a sales to let's say Kwame. Okay, so we have sales account. Supposed to have sales account and Kwame's account. Is that okay? All his accounts. Okay, so sales to Kwame is supposed to credit sales account and debit Kwame's account. Okay, but the transaction has completely omitted. We didn't actually record it at all. Okay, so if you wanted to correct this error, you come back and make the right double entry by crediting sales, let's say $100 in the name of Kwame. Okay, and then debit Kwame's account in the name of sales. Okay, to correct this error. So basically, this is how we correct an error of complete omission of entry. Okay, so let's talk about the second error. That is error of commission. Okay, an error of omission occurs when a transaction has been recorded in a different person's account just because of name similarities. Is that okay? When a transaction is being recorded in a different person's account, but they are of the same class of account just because of name similarities. Is that okay? So let's say that we have paid cash to Eric. Okay, so you're supposed to have our cash account and Eric account, or Eric's account. Simple, all right? Then we credit cash account, debit Eric account. But you have another person's account in your book called Erica. Okay, just because of name similarities, instead of, let's say the amount is $200, you credit your cash account, you're supposed to debit Eric account. But instead of debiting Eric account, because of name similarity, you went and debit Eric's account by $200. Okay, so you've made the entry in the correct class of accounts, but in a different person's account. So in order to correct this error, you remove the 200 cedis from Eric's account and come and make the debit entry in Eric's account. So to do this, you credit Eric's account by 200. Okay, in effect, you take these $200 out. Okay, then you come back to actually debit Eric's account by $200. Okay, so you present this in your journal. Okay, by debiting Eric's account and crediting Eric's account. So basically, this is how we correct an error of commission. Okay. So the third error I would like to talk about is error of principles. Or error of principle. Okay. So with the error of principle, this type of error is normally committed when the accounting principle is actually violated. It means you don't know your basic accounting principles. Okay, when the accounting, this error, when you commit them, it means you violated your accounting principle. Let's say that repairs of motor van, okay, $500. Instead of debiting repairs of motor van account, which is a nominal account, you went and debit motor van account, okay, which is a real account. It means you don't know your principles. You need to know the various class of accounts by knowing your nominal account and real account and the personal account. So maybe you have repairs of motor van. Okay, this is a nominal account, an expense. Okay, and we have another motor van account, which is a real account. So instead of maybe the transaction is actually talking about repairs of motor van, $500. Instead of debiting the repairs of motor van account, because you don't know your different class of accounts, you went and debited motor van account by $500. Okay, you went and debit the motor van account by $100, but you're supposed to debit repairs of motor van account. In order to correct this error, you go and take the $500 from the motor van account by crediting motor van account with the $500, and come and make the right entry in repairs of motor van account by $500. So this type of error doesn't actually involve the suspense account, because we have two separate accounts that we can use to make the correction. Is that okay? So basically, this is how we correct error of principle. We correct it. This is how we correct it. So let's talk about the next error on the list. Okay, that is an error of complete reversal of entry. Okay, I believe you can remember that we talked about a partial reversal of entry and the errors that affect the agreement of the travelers. But over here, we are talking of a complete reversal of entry. Okay, we normally commit these errors when we completely reversed the entries in an individual account. Okay, that is, instead of a debit entry, a credit entry is being made in one account. Then when you go to the other account, instead of maybe a credit entry, a debit entry is being made. That is a complete reversal of entry. So let me give a scenario for us to actually testify what I'm talking about. So let's say a sales to Eric. Okay, so we're supposed to have sales account. We're supposed to have our sales account, have Eric account or Eric's account. Okay, this way. Sales to Eric, so you're supposed to credit sales account and debit Eric account. Okay, but we've completely reversed the entry. Instead of crediting sales account, we came to debit it, maybe an amount of $300. We came to debit sales account, and instead of debiting Eric's account, we rather credit Eric's account by $300. This is a complete reversal of entry, because we're supposed to credit sales account and debit Eric's account, but we completely reverse the entry. Okay, so in order to correct this error, we take this $300 out and make the correct entry. So by doing so, we double the amount. Okay, the amount is $300, so we double it and do the right entry by saying $600 and debit Eric's account by $600. Can you remember that I told you that when we only double the amount when we are correcting errors of either a complete reversal of entry or a partial reversal of entry. So basically, this is how we correct an error of complete reversal of entry. Okay. So let's talk about the next error. All right. So let's talk of error of duplication. Error of duplication. All right. Okay, an error of duplication occurs when a transaction has been recorded more than once. Okay, that is 2 and above. Okay, that is, we occur this error when we record a particular transaction twice or more. Is that okay? So let's say that today we made, let's say we paid cash to Obed. All right. So we have our cash account and Obed account this way. That is today's transaction. Okay, so we've paid cash, so we credit cash, let's say $400. We paid cash to Obed, so we debit Obed by $400. So this is in the name of Obed, in the name of cash this week. That is today. So when we come to work or office tomorrow, we've forgotten that we've already recorded this transaction, and we came back to still do what? Credit the cash account in the name of Obed. We forgot, okay? Then we did it this way, and we came here to do this again, $400. It means we've duplicated the transaction, we've recorded it twice. So in order to correct this error, in the initial stage, we're supposed to do it once, but we've made it twice. So in order to correct this error, you cancel one of the entry off. By cancelling it, you come here and credit overhead account 400, debit cash account $400. In effect, this 400 will take this 400 off. This 400 will take this 400 off in effect, leaving the original entry. Okay, so basically, this is how we correct an error of duplication. Okay, so this type of errors doesn't pass through the suspense account, so take note. Alright, so the next error that I would like to talk about is error of compensation. Okay, an error of when we say error of compensation, what are we actually talking about? We are saying that error of compensation occurs when one error has cancelled another one unintentionally. When you commit an error in one book and you also committed another error in a different book, and it end up cancelling each other unintentionally. It is what we call an error of compensation. Let's say that we have sales account. Sales account. You've mistakenly overstated the sales account by $1,000. You've made an error in the sales account by overstating the sales account by $1,000. In another day, you have cash account somewhere, and you mistakenly debited or you mistakenly overstate the cash account by the same $1,000. In effect, you have a credit entry of $1,000, you have a debit entry of $1,000. Okay, because the transaction is affecting two different accounts in an opposite entry, as the double entry principle talks about, the trial balance will still balance. Is that okay? So when you commit this type of errors, this is an error of compensation. It's cancelled off. In order to correct this error, what you need to do is that you need to take this amount off. You need to take them off from your book. And by taking it off, you are not going to cancel them, but recording it in the opposite side to cancel them off. So you come to sales account, debit it. By correcting, debit the sales account by 1,000. Go back and credit sales account by 1,000. In effect, this amount will be off. This amount will be off. Okay. So basically, this is how we correct an error of compensation, or this is how we correct it. Is that okay? The last but not the least error I would like to talk about is error of original entry. Original entry. This type of error we normally commit them at the initial stage of our entry. Okay, we commit them at the initial stage, that is original entry. Okay. We can actually testify that in recording our transaction, first of all, we record the transaction in our day books. Okay, so let's say we have sales day book. The sales day book. You know that the sales day book does not follow the double entry principle. It does not follow the double entry principle. So this is, let's say, you have your date. You have your details, you have your amount. Let's say it is in dollars. Alright, maybe this is 1st January 2020. This sales input, so sales to, let's say, Eric, $1,000. Alright, so this sales daybook doesn't follow the double entry principle. Okay, so when at the end of the period, the total of, let's say this is all about the sales, the credit sales transaction, and the total is $1,000. At the end of the period, we are going to transfer this $1,000 to the sales ledger. Okay, so the sales ledger consists of the individual account. Okay, so let's look at the sales ledger. So in the sales ledger, okay, we may have our sales account. We have the individual debtors account, which is Eric. Eric, okay? In effect, we will write 1,000 here, and we will write 1,000 here. But first of all, let me come back. Maybe this sales day week, the amount supposed to be 100. But originally, in the book of original entry, we've made it 1,000. So we've committed the error at the initial stage. So when we go to our ledger, we will post it this way. Okay, so in effect, it means that we have overstated the sales amount by 900. We have overstated Eric account by 900. To cancel this off, because the initial transaction is supposed to be 100, but in our original entry, which is the sales day, we made it 1,000. We overstated the amount over here. So in order to correct it, we come back to the sales account, debit it with the difference between the $1,000 and the $100, which is 900, and credit Eric account by 900. So in effect, the balance that will be left on the sales account will be 100, that of Eric's account will be 100. Okay, so basically this is how we correct an error of original entry. Is that okay? So these are the various types of errors we may talk about. I think we talk about 12 different types of errors, okay? But we may meet other errors when you are solving questions. But with the knowledge of the double entry, you will be able to actually rectify all these errors. So understanding this theory aspect is very important. In our next video, we will be taking a full practical question where we will be preparing, or we may ask to correct the error by the use of the journal, the suspense account, and probably prepare the statement of adjusted net profit. But mind you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, kindly do so by clicking on the subscribe button on your screen, and also like, comment, and share these videos for the benefit of others. Until we meet again, bye for now.